come on to a different section of it altogether. That is the potential for skill development that goes on to be lying in the country. Now, from a perspective of a statistical figure, we're just going to consider that agriculture goes on to be contributing something like some 20% to our entire of the GDP. Industry that is the secondary sector, goes on to be contributing 45% of it, and the rest of it is going to be in the service sector. That is, of course, that is going to be combining with education, skill, and a variety of type of skills that goes on to be available. If we go on to take the present scenario and the present plan is going to be all about education, as some of these team members went on to talk about it as well. That is, the present plan is all about education. Some time back, we went on to emphasize on agriculture. So green revolution went on to take place. Then thereafter, it was a time of industries. We went on to open Bhilai, Raurkela, Durgapur, and the so-called Mandir Masjid of India. Then again we went on to come on to the tertiary sector. The information revolution was what exactly went on to earn people a lot, went on to help people earn a lot. We are right now in the throes of another revolution that is brewing up, that is going to be in the education sector. And the future belongs to two completely different type of sectors. One goes on to be associated with, the enlargement of this education that we're going to be calling it as a skill. Can you imagine the overall size of the skill industry in India goes on to be much bigger than that of the information sector. There is the type of scams that has, the so-called scam that has taken place, the 2G and whatnot, that if those type of scams start taking place in India, associated with the skill industry, which will definitely go on to happen, if not the scams, then that will be going to be to the tune of 5 lakh crores of rupees or 10 lakh crores of rupees of sorts. The size of the skill industry goes on to put to shame almost all the type of investment or almost all the type of industry that we going to be having it in India, because it's going to be multi-billion dollar industry. I'm just going to give you one example of it. That is the day when Sushmita Sen and Aishwarya Rai went on to be crowned as Miss Universe or Miss World, then no one knew what exactly is going to be the size of the fashion industry, for which purpose, of course, the Western countries went on to connive to portray these girls as the model which the younger girls from India can go on to follow. The size of the Indian fashion industry was, make a guess, it was a hopping 1,35 crore rupees. 1,35,000 crores of rupees was the size of the fashion industry, and that is associated with skill. Consequently, of course, NIFT came up. Consequently, a variety of fashion institutes started coming up. But that is one of these type of skills that we go on to be having it. Most of the skills that are going to be associated with the transformation of India, they're going to be coming in all of these sectors. Of course, in the future, we are going to see what we're going to be calling it as rural transformation. Now, this rural transformation will go on to be associated with something like the fisheries sector. We're just going to take one of these sectors, fisheries sector. Now, fisheries sector and forestry sector, two of them, both of them will go on to be involving and employing a lot of women folks, because they are such type of jobs that will require a good amount of finesse. For example, in tea gardens, only women can go on to pluck up some of these tea leaves. Not the male can't go on to do it. Our fishing industry has the potential to beat the whole of the world. Similarly is the case with the forestry industry. That is also going to be one of them. Now, who will go on to teach the women folks in the rural area how exactly to maintain a pond, and what exactly do with respect to the preservation of the eggs of the fishes, and how exactly to use the seedlings, how exactly to allow the plants to grow, and so on. And that goes on to be comprising almost 50% of the entire of the population. Take the case of the transformation of the city. If you go on to be taking this case of a transformation of the city, then that goes on to be another big aspect of it. In future, we'll start having certain things like more and more gated communities. Now, these are the communities that will go on to become one of these biggest source of income for the people in two ways. First of them, that is, they will go on to be having a completely different type of a niche market, which will be required to be catered to in a completely different manner. It's going to be like, it's almost going to be like one model that we're going to be creating it. Whenever you go on to go for a decentralized development activity which the country actually goes on to require, then you will have to beam a lot of information, a lot of education through the VSAT technology. We do going to be having this type of VSAT technology, and we going to be talking about, let's say we are talking about some rural areas which have the potential to be converted into an urban area, will require to establish a VSAT, will require to establish a community center, and will require to teach them how exactly that they can go on to handle their farming, how exactly they can go on to handle their schools, how exactly they can go on to handle their education. All of this is going to be in the rural areas as well as the small tier 3 and tier 4 cities. Of course, in the future, if you go on to be talking about other type of transformation, city is going to be one of them. And in the city sector, it is the satellite towns that will go on to be the biggest source, biggest area where a lot of investment will be required. Large towns will go on to become unsustainable. Large towns, there will be a lot of environmental problems. Large towns will go on to become difficult to be maintained. So ultimately, it is satellite towns, smaller cities, that will go on to be synovial of all eyes. Since the information content will not be a problem, since the entertainment content will not be a problem, small centers are always going to be better. And you just go on to imagine, driver cum personal assistant will go on to be one of these areas that will going to be requiring the greatest amount of attention. I will go on to give you one more example on that part. That is, will require to train all of these housemaids to become house governance. Two institutes have come up in India, one of them in Ahmedabad, another in Bangalore, and can you imagine, 5 crore rupees of a hopping investment has been made in the coaching institute to train all of these housewives, drivers, and even some of these organizations have started doing it in Patna for rickshaw pullers as well on that count. So city is going to be one of them. In a similar manner, you are going to find that is a growth transformation is going to be another of them, and the most important of them is going to be the Delhi-Mumbai corridor, or maybe even Mumbai-Kolkata corridor as well, comprising of Nasik, Akola, Dhule, Amravati, Nagarjunkonda, then Rourkela, Bhilai, up till all the way from to Calcutta to so on. Incidentally, if we can go on to pick up all of these identified sectors, of course, because of a paucity of time, we can't go on to pick up all of these, but that is one of these sectors that will go on to be coming up in a very big manner in the future, will be an effort by the government of India to convert India into a soft power. Now, converting India into a soft power will go on to require, converting India into a soft power essentially will go on to require that we must go on to diffuse all our teachers throughout the whole of the world. I will just going to give you one figure. That is, India, the whole of the world will require no less than 14 million teachers in the coming years. All of these teachers have to be funded and sourced by India itself. Imagine if all of these teachers start imbibing Indianness and Indian concept in the West, Indian style of teaching, in yogasana and whatnot, then what is going to be the size of the market? These teachers themselves will go on to make a big brand for all the type of Ayurveda products that we can go on to think of in having in the West. Plus, the type of coaching industry that will go on to evolve, taking into account all of these new variety of teachers, a completely new breed of teachers, a completely new brand of teachers, is what exactly is going to be the skills, skill availability that will go on to be with respect to not only English teaching, Hindi teaching as well, yoga teaching as well, Ayurveda teaching as well, that is going to be in form of how exactly to maintain the house as well, which the teacher will start doing in the near future. And of course, if you go to be talking about a variety of all of these aspects, we'll go on to sum it up, that is religion, philosophy, and thinking related events and thinking related skill, which will go on to become the most important skill available in the country right now. One can go to imagine why exactly a person like Ramdev has gone to carve a niche is because he has gone to have a dangerous mix of religion, spirituality and politics. We go on to calling it done just because, of course, he may not going to understand the meaning of certain things like politics, and he's still going to do it. This is what exactly the world will go on to be, because we are passing through a real stressful phase. That's the reason we're going to be talking about economic prosperity in the coming days will go on to reduce a person's dependence on certain things like religion, but religion will go on to take a different form. What type of form it will go on to take and what type of people are to be trained to cater to that, that is what exactly will go on to be another type of a skill availability. Now, from that perspective, if you can go on to pick it, I have prepared a long list of it, of what exactly can go on to be the skill availability. But since a lot of sword is hanging on my head right now, I won't go on to take so much amount of time. But ultimately, to sum it up, certain things like, we just go on to take the case of entertainment, which by way of which we can go on to transform ourselves into a soft power. Then you do going to be having assistant in production, scripting, drama, coaching, lifestyle, and so on. Of course, we go on to be having a variety of type of skills that, of course, that goes on